And he received the sign of circumcision, a seal of the righteousness of the faith which he had yet been uncircumcised, that he might be the father of all them that believe, though they be not circumcised, that righteousness might be imputed unto them also. Verse 12, and the father of circumcision to them that are not of circumcision only, but who also walk in the steps of that faith of our father Abraham, which he had been yet uncircumcised. He's saying he's the father of all the believers. He's the father of those that are circumcised. He's the father of those that are uncircumcised, because he became a believer when he was uncircumcised. And he says it doesn't matter if you're circumcised in the flesh or not. That is not the distinguishing factor. What is the distinguishing factor is, do you have faith in God, and do you serve yourself, or do you serve Jesus Christ? If you serve God, if you set aside your desires, you say, God, I'm with your program. That's faith in God. And that makes you a child of Abraham. Now, there's someone who say, well, I listen to God. I'll do everything that God tells me to do. Well, but I don't want other people telling me what to do. I don't have to do that. Well, the Bible clearly says you're in submission to authority. All authorities over you are put there by God. Especially in a church. You choose that to be your authority. Now, if you don't want to serve them, why are you going there? It's real simple. I don't tell the people in this church to do anything, but I give you principles and you live by them or you don't. And you know what? It's not me speaking them, because I speak them out of the Word. So you have to decide whether you line up with the Word or not. That's completely up to you. But the point is, it has nothing to do with me. It is God speaking through me. And it's not optional to listen to what I have to say, because it's out of the Word. But you decide. I don't tell anybody what to do. For the promise that he should be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith. The fact that he was going to be the heir of the whole world, it says, Abraham, it wasn't made under the law, but it was made through the righteousness of faith. How's that? Abraham didn't have the Ten Commandments. That came over 400 years later. What he got through faith, through listening to God. He met God face to face more than one time. He spoke with God, he transacted with God, and what he received from God, the promises, he got through faith. Not because he had a deal, not because he had a contract, not because he had the law. The law came over 400 years later. Why is that important to us? Because we can never put God in a box by saying, well, you said, and so you owe me. It doesn't matter what if I fasted until I died, if I did nothing but work for the poor every day and not take any salary, just food and shelter. It doesn't matter what I did. If I prayed all day, every day, till the end of my life, I don't earn anything from God. Because first of all, there's nothing saying that God's asking for that from me. See, Christians really amaze me sometimes. It's like, well, I'm giving my old car to God, and I'm expecting him to give me back a Benz because I'm giving him my old car. Well, first of all, he didn't ask for your old car. And what makes you think you can just ask for whatever you want because you're giving him your old junk? It's amazing. I don't get that. But it happens all the time. It's like, yeah, I'm giving God my time. Oh, I'm busy in praise and worship. Oh, I'm busy. I'm writing for Jesus. I'm ministering for Jesus. I'm handing out tracts for Jesus. And because of that, I need a brand new house. And he owes me. It's like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Even if I do everything that he asked me to do all of my life, it still doesn't earn anything from him. Because he still paid for my sins. God owes me and he owes you nothing. Nothing. And what we get by faith, not by rules, not by the law. For if they which were of the law be heirs, faith is made void and the promise made of none effect. The law is there because of disobedience. Why did God have to say, thou shalt not kill? Because murder is in the hearts of his people. Yes, his own people. Murder is in the hearts of them. Thou shalt not steal, because it's in the hearts of people. Thou shalt not commit adultery, because it's in the heart of the people. Thou shalt not covet, because it's in the heart of the believers. Unfortunately, he had to give us the rules because it was in our heart to break them. When kids are good, you don't have to make rules. You know, because they're just good. And the worse they are, the more rules you got to make for them. We all know that. Some of us were those bad kids. Well, the point is, the rules are there to rein in the unrighteousness. You can't get righteousness from rules. It's not there. Because the law worketh wrath, for where no law is, there's no transgression. If there's no rules, you can't break the rules. Up until Moses, there was no rules. Therefore, it is of faith that it might be by grace, to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed. The promise is by faith and by grace, the grace of God. Faith, because God speaks it to us, and grace, because we didn't earn it. That the promise might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all.
Amen.
It's all about faith. The pillar of our relationship with Jesus, the pillar of our Christianity, rests on two things: faith in God. We know God, we know what He's speaking to us. And the other one is essentially circumcision. Not of the flesh, but of the heart. The obedience, the readiness, the ability, the desire to do what He tells us to do. Even when we don't like it. And we don't want to do it. Even when we don't understand it. Some say, well, I don't mind doing it, I just need to understand it. No, you don't need to understand it. When you say I need to understand it, you're saying, you're putting a condition on what God can ask you to do. It's like, we don't have the right to do that. He's not telling us because it'll mess us up. You see, God tells us everything that we need to know. There's some things that He'll just not tell us. And why won't He tell you? He's a good God, and He'll always not tell you something that's going to mess you up. So the problem is, when Christians go out and they want to know things that God isn't telling them, they're asking to know something that's going to hurt them. And in the process of doing that, they get messed up, and then they get angry with God. But God doesn't tell you. If God isn't telling you, you don't want to know. The walk is about faith. The walk is about circumcision of the heart. It's real simple. There's faith, and there's the works of faith. Works without faith is no good. Faith without works is no good. We have two legs. Those are the legs we stand on. Faith and circumcision of the heart. The desire to serve God. And that's our message for today.